Hey guys, Tarke here, and I want to make a video called What to Do When You Don't Know What to Do in Path of Exile. I just had an infusion today, and that's relevant because whenever I have infusions coming up, Crane's treatment if you don't know, my energy gets really weird, and I just get very null for a few days leading up to each one, because I just get like really worn out, and I often like lose all sense of direction. And that coincided perfectly with me transitioning between builds. And there's a feeling I call the PoE build depression. And it's when you're playing PoE and you don't really know what build you want to play. And so you just kind of like walk around in stupor for the best part of a week, not really achieving anything, leveling random characters. And it could just be something that I experience between every end of expansion and infusion. But I think it's something that a lot of people have, especially in the start of the league, when they're trying out lots of skills and maybe like they're getting bored of their league starter or their starter build didn't go like how they planned. So what are some things that I recommend for when you're in that stage? The main thing I really recommend isn't actually to level new builds, because if you're in a state of not really knowing what you're doing and you just rush into doing something new, then you're probably just going to get bored of that as well quite quickly. So what I'd actually recommend doing is just throwing on some random quantity gear and just running maps. And that might seem really stupid because you're like, but Tarke, if I'm bored of my current build, then why would I want to just like run more maps on the build that I'm bored of? Well, the thing is, it's not so much that you're bored of your current build, it's just you don't really have a goal in mind, and so you're feeling kind of lost, right? So unless you've actually like sunk a substantial amount of playtime into a proper character and you have excess currency lying around, what's quite likely that will happen is you'll go and you'll make your new build, and then you get frustrated that you didn't get a 6-link or whatever, and then you'll end up in this like perpetual cycle of constantly re-rolling builds and abandoning them before they ever really get complete. So if you find yourself in a stage where you're just feeling kind of lost, if you can bring yourself to do a day or two of just intense farming, then what will most likely happen is you'll actually be in a situation where you'll work out what it is that you actually don't like about the build you're currently playing. Because if it's a case of like, oh, I don't like this build because it doesn't map or it doesn't boss, then the more you play that character, the more the weaknesses, the more the things that annoy you become more apparent to you. So if the thing that like is really triggering you about your current build is the fact that you dread the idea of bossing on it, but you actually really want like a bossing character, then you go, oh, that's actually what I really want, is I want a build that I can boss on, and from these extra 2 days that I struggled on it with my full quant gear, I've actually accumulated a couple of exalts, and now I can like afford bossing gear. By forcing yourself to just play for an extra couple of days, you're just giving you time to like really think about, is this something that is actually like important, or were you just in a funk that day, and what it really is that you hate about build. It doesn't map smooth enough, it doesn't boss smooth enough, it doesn't have the sustain, it doesn't have flashy enough visuals, it's too laggy, it's not laggy enough. That was one thing that I was struggling with a little bit, was I really loved how Armageddon Brand felt, but it was like so clustered I got kind of annoyed. So then I swapped to Fireball, and I was having a lot of fun with Fireball. But I was like, oh, I really want to play a Herald build, man. I haven't played a Herald build in fucking ages. So I made a Stormbrand Elementalist, and I tried out Winter Orb just briefly, and I was like, oh, Winter Orb's way cooler, so I've been playing Winter Orb since. But I find Winter Orb really laggy, and I was like, oh god, I know what to do. The build's like, it really lags on super juiced up maps. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Oh no. Do I go back to my Ignite character? Do I make something new? And I was like trying to craft those different things, and I was like, wait, hang on, Tarke. You've got an infusion coming up. You always get weird before every infusion. Just like equip some quant gear and run some maps, and you'll be okay. Especially since with the whole iceberg strat I did on my Atlas to get the hideout, I scuffed up my like Atlas unlocking a bunch of tiers and everything. So I was like, let's just like farm like the 2,000 grottos you have. I got a couple hundred fusings, didn't 6-link anything, feels bad, man. And then I was like, okay, I'm done with that now. Let's just like go back through and put all the tiers back on my Atlas and really work out what it exactly is that I want. And basically, I've come to the conclusion that I really want to play a bosser. I want to play something which can boss like really nicely, because none of the builds that I've played this league have felt like something which you can just boss on. the most like boss-friendly character I've played this league would have actually been what I league started on, the Vortex Cold Snap Trickster, which I rolled off to the Ignite character because people wanted like help with the Ignite character. And I've kind of been like wanting to itch that scratch that boss itch is what I was trying to say there. I just haven't been playing builds which really cater to that. Fun fact about my Vortex Cold Snap character. So in the peak middle of the I don't know what I'm doing with my life phase, I bought one of the 2 Indigons that were for sale in my league. Bought all of the gear, everything for it, and I very, very briefly tried to make a Indigon Essence Drain Contagion Trickster, since apparently the buffed Essence Drain is pretty good. I managed to get up to about 8.5k mana, which is kind of cool. And I ran a couple of maps, and I was like, this is cool. And then I did nothing on that build. So I respected the entire tree. I spent a couple of exalts on random gear, all these random unique jewels. Geared it all out, spent a couple of days like theory crafting, ran some maps, yeah, that's cool. And then I didn't touch it since. So that was just like, feels bad, man. I tried crafting 2 different weapons. I made a 48% quality eye level 84 Shaper Thicket Bow, and I was going to try and 6-link it, which is why I super quality it first. And quality past 20% does actually increase the chance of getting a 6-link. I'm just not very lucky. In the end, I think my total fuse count was only 678 or something, the last count. So I didn't put loads of fusing. That's still quite a lot of fuse to put into an item, especially fully qualitied up, in a small private league where you haven't got like thousands of fuses that you can just buy off, you know, trade bots or whatever. And because of the way that I was approaching the craft, so if you don't know, with the use of Haku and with fossils, you can quality a bow up to 28 or 30%, and then you can mastercraft an additional 16% on top, giving you that very huge like base quality. So you can do that to try and get an easier 6-link. Then once you 6-link it, you then remove all the crafts, and then you craft the actual bow you wanted. So I was in this really awkward situation. I'm like, okay, so I've got this bow, and I can't actually use this bow until I 6-link it. Like, it's not like I could just craft the bow and use a 5-link. Because of the way that I was like trying to make like the perfect bow, I had to 6-link it first, and the idea was to 6-link it and then alt annul multi-mod craft it and try and make like a really sexy multi-mod couple of exalt kind of weaponry. I got really frustrated with that after I blew all my fuse on it. So then I went back to the build depression, as I like to call it. And then it was in this kind of phase that I made this character, and I wanted to craft a explodey mace. Anyone who's seen Ziz's explodey mace, basically same concept. There's nothing good on the star, fuck it. You alt roll until you get enemies killed explode, dealing % of their life as fire damage. Really common, you get it within about 50 to 100 alterations. You then regal it, and then annul it down until that's the only mod. Then you spend 2x of the vendor to multi-mod it, and then you just slam all the overpowered new crafted mods on. I've thrown 4 failed annuls into crafting an exploding mace. Annuls are also pretty rare in my private league, so that was kind of annoying. I've got all of the gear to make a dual Nebulok Tectonic Slam build. The new Tectonic Slam is meant to be pretty hype, and I was really hyped to play it. And I have like all the gear. I've got a 6-link, I've got 2 Combs Ways, I've got 2 Nebuloks, I've got Devotee's Devotion, I've got Combs Roots. Like, I literally have like every single gear slot, like boom, 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 boom. But then Mathel just started making it. And for any aspiring streamers out there, when you play the same build as Mathel, even if you played the build before Mathel, the only question you ever get is this Mathel's X build? If not, why not? If yes, why you copy? And it just kind of put me off it a bit. Even though I was going for a completely different setup, I was just like, oh, I can't play this now. So I don't know. I think I might go back to trying to fuse my bow than going for the crazy crafted thicket. Other things that I found kind of interesting. So on this Winter Orb character, I think Winter Orb's actually a really cool skill. I just don't like how it's really laggy sometimes. Although today, to be honest, it's been not that bad. I think a lot of it's also just to do with like the server load. Winter Orb is a very cool build to min-max because of some of the things you can craft for it. So most people with Winter Orb, they either like make some crazy multi-modded helm or gloves, and then the reason why multi-modding is so strong in it is once you roll two, that was a fail, whoops. After you roll two shaper mods and like hypothermia, increased AoE, or if it's in gloves like slower projectiles, faster casting. See if I have an example. Pretend this was slower proj, blind, faster cast, right? You then multi-mod, and then you can craft +1 projectile gems, +1 AoE gems, and then you can corrupt them and try and get even more gems. Again, if you look at Zizz's profile, Zizz's a really dirty pair. Waggle also has a really nice pair on his Winter Orb character. Basically, it's a build where you can do like insane crafting min-max. And that's fun because it gives the character like constant goals, and I find goals very important in Path of Exile. And builds which don't have the like opportunity to constantly upgrade their gear, they become stale for me quite quickly because you mentally run out of things to do. Whereas if you're playing a build where you know you could always make better gear, then you always have a reason like, oh, I'll just get one more like insane flat Ellie jewel. I'll just go for like the perfect weapon or the perfect boots or the perfect whatever, right? So you can make these like insane helm gloves and then just like throw Combs chest on it or go with whatever wacky unique you want. It also means that you don't need 6 links, which is quite nice if you're just like really bad when it comes to linking stuff up. But anyway, so I have a few ideas. I have a few things that I will maybe play. I'm also like just kind of tempted to make like a really silly boss character. 637 views, sorry. Also, for the record, this chest, Hiri's Ire, gives more flat... It basically gives like a level 21 added cold, which is pretty good. So it's basically like, in its current state, this is a 6 link, right? Because it's a 5 link with then a level 20, level 21 added cold. So it's like a 7 link chest if it's fully linked up with dodge and spell dodge, a whole bunch of evasion and some flat decks. My idea was to maybe do like some deck stacking meme where you use that plus Hiri's Ire and then get a flat cold damage per dex bow, and then just go like full crazy on all the crafted gear, play Scourge Arrow. I also corrupted a few quivers, that didn't go very well for me. I had 2 insane +1 arrow quivers that I crafted, then corrupted, both bricked. All of my corruptions this league, all my like level 20 gems, bricked into 19, so we've been very unlucky when it comes to crafting on that. But yeah, I need like a build idea that I can really like sink my fucking teeth into, which just doesn't lag. I'm so sick of the lag, man. I love how Winter Orb plays though. I think Winter Orb is really cool. And on that note, just kind of like round out the ramblings of this video, I think they've done an amazing job with the new skills they've added. So far, of all the new skills I've played Armageddon Brand, Storm Brand, Winter Orb, very briefly tried out Tectonic in Standard. I think they've done a really good job. The multi-totem support feels great as well. The buffed cold stuff feels awesome. It seems like everything they've touched this league is just sort of worked, and I think that's pretty rare. The only skills I haven't tried yet has been Ice Spear. And I've seen a few people are actually really enjoying Ice Spear. Arctic Breath, I think, is a flop, but enough people have told me they like it that I'm giving it a pass. I really think Arctic Breath is the only thing in my mind which stands out as being like kind of trash. So major props on that front. So yeah, it's just this lag isn't fun, dude. Like no one enjoys that freeze frame. I think it's mostly just an issue with stacking Herald of Ice with like exploding maces and all the other heralds and elementals. It's just too much. I was watching Waggle play his Winter Orb Scion, and he's doing some cool Call to Fire memes for extra damage. And it looks really smooth to play because he's just using Herald of Ash and Anger, right? So because he's gone all Call to Fire, he's not shattering, he's just using an Exploding Mace to destroy corpses with a Pyring also. And it looks really, really smooth. So if I did stick on this character, I might do some conversion memes just to bypass the annoying, like, stutter. I also, yeah, that basically. Basically to bypass that. Also, I've done a little bit of work to my hideout. I want to make a little log cabin. I found out you can make planks. Like, there's a new MTX hideout thingy, which is planks. And it's like, oh shit, dude, planks, that's sick. So I want to make like a nice little like woodland cabin, Bob Ross style. But yeah, rambly video. I hope that's okay. Not sure what this motion was. That is not anything suggestive. I'm Tarke. Farm some maps. Get some currency. Get some goals. Have a good day. I have a plant on my desk now, by the way.